Howdy. My friend sent this to me and I want to check it out. So let's go.
I'm making this for people who want to get rich. And if that is not you, that is totally fine. There's no judgment. You can skip this. But this is for people who are trying to...
I think he's going to say something along the lines of like, okay, because what's rich? What is rich? Is rich like $1 million a year? Is rich like 50K a month? You know, what is rich? But like also, I feel like he could say something like, if this isn't you, if you don't want to work hard to get there, I get it. You don't, then this video's not for you. You know what I mean? And then go on the working hard angle or like something. I don't know. Let's just see.
Not you, that is totally fine. There's no judgment. You can skip this. But this is for people who are trying to call it money max for the short period. So if you want to max, you have to min, and you have to be willing to do that for a period of time. And so I'm going...
Sorry to keep pausing, but I think that what he means by min is like minimize the things that you're putting energy into. Like it has to be like only one or two things, like, you know.
If you want to max, you have to min, and you have to be willing to do that for a period of time. And so I'm going to give you an argument that I think is very compelling for why you should do it sooner. And so if you want to get rich, then you should try and get rich as young as possible. And I will break down very logical reasons for why. So number one, first and foremost, one of the most underrated reasons is the math behind getting wealthy. All right, so money compounds at 3 to 4 times the rate in the beginning as it does later, meaning your increase in compounding on the excess cash you have in the earlier parts of your career will outpace the increase in earning power. And so, for example, if you have $1 extra when you're 25, it might be $90 by the time you're 70, right? Whereas if that same dollar at 35 would only be a third as much, and that same dollar at 45 would be a ninth as much, right? And so the idea is the dollars that you make, even though they may be smaller by proportion, when you allow compounding to compound, actually results in more money later. Now, my argument there is not that you must take 100% of your dollars and put it into the S&P 500. That's never been my argument. But that the dollars you do choose to put into investments of any kind at an earlier part in your career do get disproportionate returns. So that's thing one. The second thing is that your skills will also compound disproportionately that you acquire at a younger age, right? Like there's a certain amount of repetitions that are required in order for you to become good. Bill Gates was able to get those repetitions early because he started coding early, and then as a result he was able to build software first, and then basically was able to keep this kind of sustained advantage. Like I talked to a guy yesterday, 2 days ago, Mehdi, who had $700,000 by the time he was 19, right? That saved up. That was very interesting. Now, imagine that was a 65-year-old guy. We wouldn't be as impressed, right? And so time has very real impact on the scope or scale of your accomplishments as it relates to your reputation. Meaning, when I was younger and a millionaire early, it meant a lot more, and so you actually get more reputational gravitas, right? And so you can leverage a smaller win when you are younger for your reputation because you are younger, right? And I'll give you a secret that I only found out later, is that you basically have until you're 30 to be considered young. The moment I turned 30, I was just a white dude. Before that, I was a young white dude. Then I was just white dude, and then no one cared after that, right? So in other words, youth is a multiplier on every win that you have, whether that be press, network, mentors, capital access. I just made an investment this last week. I wrote a $500,000 check to a kid who was 18 years old, and he had just done $30 million a year in an e-commerce business and wanted to develop a tool to help e-commerce stores. So I was like, I knew he had the avatar, I knew he'd able to do it, but the fact that he was 18 and had accomplished that made me think, okay, this guy is really sharp. Now he got into my stuff at age 15, so it took him 3 years to get there, right? But in other words, that multiplier decays around 30. Right? But so you have this period of time where going all in yields higher returns even for the same outcome. Now, number 3, you leverage early success into bigger later success. So his $30 million business, now obviously everything's different in terms of what your scale of success is, right? But you can ladder on top of it. They're stepping stones. So for example, me, when I went through the beginning, it was like I was able to get in shape really early, and I was able to leverage that into personal training and online training clients, which I was able to leverage into a gym. And then from gym, I got into multiple gyms. And then from multiple gyms, I was able to start Gym Launch. And so the thing is that every part of my career has been going back and basically taking a stepping stone on what I learned from the enterprise I did before. And then obviously the sale of Gym Launch basically gave us our cash for acquisition.com to start the family office. And so everything builds on itself. And so if you're gonna have these steps, it's like the steps are set. It's just how soon do you wanna get to this step? It's just how late you wanna start, right? So next one is that I'll just rapid fire some reasons why I think it's better to get rich while you're young, which is that like you also have more energy, right? So think about it like this, like you have to play the cards you're dealt. Getting those repetitions in takes energy, and I only know this now that I'm almost 40, which is wild to say, that I have less energy than I see some 18-year-olds, right? And so like that is a clear advantage that they have. And so if you have that, then like you want to use it, right? In addition to that, you have fewer requirements, meaning there are fewer things that you must do. You probably don't have kids yet. You probably aren't wifed up yet or husbanded up yet. You probably don't have the same level of geographic dependence. And so you are more flexible. You can go to places where learning can occur faster. You can have fewer strings attached. You can live for less, which means you can be more aggressive with the excess cash that you make to reinvest in skills or in formal investments because you understand the value of multiplying and compounding, right? And again,
Yeah, so this definitely just makes me think of like how I'm getting a new job as an electrical apprentice, for stability reasons. I think it'll help me get my sleep schedule back in order, waking up early, being obligated to wake up early again. So that'll fix my circadian rhythm. And this is what I tell myself. I don't know if this is all like, I don't know if this, because like I bet if I talk to someone like Alex Hormozi or Andrew Tate or someone or Iman Gadji about becoming successful and making money, starting my own business, I bet they would all say something like, I don't know, it just seems like they would all say something like, you don't need like a stable job first, just go all in with the business plan that you have and make that work. Like that's just what it seems like they would say. My reasoning behind getting the job is like, yeah, better sleep schedule again, because right now I'm staying up late because of my current sleep schedule, my work schedule. I have to stay up late. I work late. So it'll fix my circadian rhythm again, waking up, being obligated to wake up at an early time, fix my nutrition again, affording high quality groceries to keep up with my fitness goals and activity levels, affording an MMA membership again so that I can train regularly and develop that disciplinary type mindset and that kind of like fighter's mentality, just being aggressive and assertive in life and taking action, like operating with that level of confidence. And then freeing up my evenings for social, stuff like hanging out with the type of people that I want to hang out with, because that's usually when they're free. The more entrepreneurial types, the more fitness and health conscious types, the more like spiritually based types that are not chaotic, who are not chaotic. And so that's my reasoning, that it'll give me more energy, like what he's talking about, to attack my the business endeavor in my life with more energy. So I don't know.
You are more flexible. You can go to places where learning can occur faster. You can have fewer strings attached. You can live for less, which means
This is what I was going to say. And so to use the money that I'm making from my new job, once I get it, to put it into like taking a couple days off of work to go to a business seminar that like Patrick Bet David holds, or if Alex does like seminars or things like that, like attending things where other entrepreneurs are like paying for coaching, whatever it is, mentorship, business mentorship, entrepreneurial mentorship, all those sorts of things, like putting my money back into that first and foremost.
more aggressive with the excess cash that you make to reinvest in skills or in formal investments because you understand the value of multiplying and compounding, right? And again, this geographical flexibility I think is wildly underrated. One of the things that you get the advantage of when you're younger is that, like, if you want to be in, politics, go to DC. If you want to be in finance, go to New York. If you want to be in in influencer and media, go to LA, right? Those are great places to learn. Now, once you become Joe Rogan, you can move to Austin and do whatever the hell you want, right? But the thing is that when you want to get those reps, you want to go where the reps are, right? You want to go where the fish are if you're trying to fish. And what you're fishing for right now is skills and network, right? You're trying to get places, and you want to do it before you have strings tying you down and roots that you have set. And that is, again, it's a competitive advantage.
So I wonder where marketing, online marketing business, freelance copywriting, because that's what I'm trying to develop. The skill set that I'm trying to develop is like marketing, freelance copywriting type of world, and like even adjacent to that, whether that be like social media stuff, I don't know, probably stuff like that too, but or like ads and what else, running ads, stuff like that. But I wonder where that kind of like headquarters is, or that like hotspot is in America.
Not to say that when you're older you can't do it. It's just harder, right? And so if you believe that it's hard for you now to forego your existing path, which may have been given to you by your siblings or society or whatever, I promise you it will only get harder. And if you can't do it now, the likelihood that you're able to do it later goes down, right? And for me, I want to stack bets where the probabilities are highest for my success. And whenever you enter a new system, by the way, this is game theory, the most adaptable player wins. So it's like survival of the fittest, right? And fittest is most adaptable. And when you are younger, you have the most adaptability. You have the most neuroplasticity, as in you can learn faster. You have the most energy, so you can do repetitions. You have the least geographical constraints, so you can move to where the action is. When you do earn, you make more dollars on each dollar you make. All the skills you acquire compound with time because you only get better at it. The accomplishments that you get from being young mean more because you are young than they do when they're old. And so the final point that I'll say is this, is that you want to model success, not the exceptions. Of course, we want to tell the story of Colonel Sanders, who started, Colonel Sanders when he's 63, and there's a bunch of, other kind of call it exception stories of people who are older and then started companies, and then obviously were really successful. But like, wouldn't it be better to be the rule than the exception? Like, the richest people often got rich when they were young because they decided to, right? And I will say this because I love this quote from James Clear, but the thing that separates winners and losers is not their goals. People's goals are the same. The difference between the people who win and lose is the actions they take as a result, and the risk that they're willing to tolerate and the pain that they're willing to endure for extended periods of time with an uncertain payoff. And so if you think that you need certainty in order to move forward, I promise you that this world will never give it to you. And so it's really that there will always be uncertain, and at some point you grow the cojones, the gonads, by the way, that's bisexual or unisex. Everybody's got gonads. You will grow the gonads, or they will drop, or whatever it is. I told you I was going to do some HR stuff. You will grow the nads you need to take the bets. And so I think what really happens is that at some point you realize that you're not going to die if you fail. You will just learn and you will get better, which is the point of the process. And you will never finish, and you will never actually win, because by the time you win, you will have already planted a much bigger goal that you want, because the goal that you had came in shooting distance. And the easiest analogy I can say for this is this: when I wanted to, bench 315, for example, I was a dream of mine when I was in high school, right? Because I remember that just one big plate was wow, the strong kids could do a full plate, right? And then 2 plates was like super strong. 3 plates was crazy. By the time I benched 315, I knew I was going to hit 315 because I had done 275 for 5, and I did 295 for a triple or a set of 5, and so 315 seemed obvious, right? And so the thing is that by the time you accomplish goals, the goals themselves seem less meaningful because you already did the work to make that goal reasonable, which is why you achieved it, which is why you have to do so much work that is unreasonable that you do not become successful. And the best way to do that is to start when you're younger, for all the reasons I just gave. All right, that's why you should succeed while you're young. That's why you should ignore the people who are telling you, who don't have what you want, telling you how to get something that they've never gotten. If you like this video and you're
Facts, bro, facts. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
so I think I'm on a really good path. I think that once I, Cause you need to, cause it's like those steps. And for me, I want to be a very well-rounded guy, meaning spiritually, mentally, physically. So I want to have like a solid sleep schedule. See, and there will be a lot because I've listened to entrepreneurial mindset stuff for years now. Like I've heard pretty much probably 90% of the type of content that you could, hear on this kind of stuff. And I know people would be like, just do it, just like you don't need this, you don't need that, just do it. And I get it. You don't. But I also want to be like physically healthy. And I want to be like, you know, I want to have like wisdom and patience and centeredness, and I want to have, is it all a lie to have like good physical health, to have good mental health, like cuz that's really what I'm doing. It's like if I fix my sleep schedule, I think that'll only benefit everything else in my life. Same with my diet, same with my training regimen, like how often I'm training and what I'm training, like lifting weights as opposed to training MMA, like the people that I hang around with, like how, and what those people are interested in, like the environments that I'm in. Like I feel like all of these things have an effect on on uh on the outcome, you know? So, and on the progress and on the momentum and the motion in which things are moving, and how things are moving forward. I think I'm better off if I take care of my health rather than just trying to go all in with like the business stuff. I don't think it's sustainable. I think I'm a lot more prone to just quitting because it feels so bad and I can't recover from the failures that I end up just quitting. I think being resilient and building yourself to be more resilient through things like physical health, mental health, as in like, I don't know, my mental health is like faith. It's literally like having gratitude, being humble. Like I have these things on my wall, like they're all they're all biblical, you know, more Christian type values like gratitude, humility, patience, grace, things like that. If I have those things, which is my mental health, then I'd probably be able to endure failure a lot more easily, as if rather than not having those things. You know what I mean? If I had no patience, if I had no grace, if I had no, humility, I think I'd probably burn out a lot faster. So it's like taking care of my mental health and physical health, I feel like are just as important, Um and you want to be, and it's like a discipline thing. Like I have the time of in my day to do so. It'll honestly only take me 2 to 4 hours a day to put in meaningful amounts of work doing, entrepreneurial things to actually see and make progress in the beginning. And so the rest of that time, the rest of the 24 hours, like having good sleep, eating well, training, I feel like those are good things. And like, you know, so anyway, yeah, I'm trying to like already argue with everyone on the internet about if I'm going about this in the right way. But I think the only person it really matters to is me. The only person that can really, gauge that is me, or someone really, really similar to me. And most people aren't similar, So anyway, let's just leave it at that. This was a cool video. I like this. It gave me Tate vibes where he's like way more trying to be like more abrasive, more like aggressive with the message, but it was pretty cool. Anyway, peace out. Like, subscribe.